All right, this is part three. This is the final installment of the leadership or our leadership faith assessment, part three. Now, if you've gone through part one and part two, decide if your faith has graduated to a level of maturity that goes beyond obstacles. We've had every kind of obstacles as we've gone into the scriptures. We've, as we're in Matthew 15, verse 22 through, we'll stop at 28. But as we've seen, this woman is coming with a petition on behalf of someone else, but there are many obstacles. There were a couple obstacles. There's the obstacle of not being heard, not being respected, not being addressed or acknowledged. There's the issue of the fact that this is not a part of the plan. There's, there's issues with other people opposing the request. And you're going to deal with that in life, that everybody, even when you are trying to do positive things, or, you're trying to increase profits, or you're trying to go to a different level of faith in the church, or you believe in God for something, and somebody just says, you need to abandon that prayer or that request before God. People will say that to you. I know that people don't believe that, but people will say you need to be realistic. You need to amend your request, or you need to change something about yourself. And if you do that, most likely it ends up affecting you in a negative way, because the very thing that you begin to change or you begin to conform to what other people want is what actually gives you the edge. It is what makes you creative, what makes you different, what makes you in the end successful. But if you can't resist that request by other people to abandon your core beliefs or abandon your creative aspirations or your goals, you'll find yourself living a life that is not pleasing. It is a life that you were never called to lead, but because you've let obstacles or you let other people steer you in a certain way, all of a sudden you find yourself living their expectation of what your life should be, which is very dangerous. So make sure that you pray about these scriptures and pray about your level of faith, and ask God to increase your faith. If you're in business, if you're in professional development, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, these scriptures all have value. So don't let anything deter you from going forward. So we're in Matthew 15 and verse 26. We left off, Jesus has said that she was not a part of the plan, not a part of his mission. He was called to the lost sheep of Israel. He was confined to that space, and there was nothing that he could do due to the fact that she wasn't a part of his mission. She wasn't a part of his plan, wasn't a part of his ministry, wasn't a part of his call. And like I said before, companies will tell you that whatever your proposition is, whatever your proposal is, that wasn't a part of their plan. They don't do that, or they have to open up a whole new division just to accommodate this request. Well, it's up to you to decide that you're going to abandon the request, or you're going to keep going further with it. Now, some people will say, well, that's pushy. The thing about it is, in business, ministry, any area of life, you're going to be faced with a situation where you're going to have to be more aggressive. You're going to have to be aggressive about promoting your ministry. You're going to have to be aggressive about going outside of boundaries. You are going to have to be aggressive about addressing issues. You're going to have to resist the urge to do what might seem popular and damage your own creativity, damage your own even your own self-respect, because you're allowing other people to dictate to you how you should be, especially when it's concerning matters of proposal, business, anything of that nature. You have to be careful that you remain unique, be creative, and resist the urge to conform to what everybody else wants. So in Matthew 15 and 26, but he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. Wow. Very, very disheartening statement that I'm going to have to take something that is for people that are termed children or termed to be offspring, to give to somebody that is in a sense subhuman. What he's saying is that this is something that is for the children of Israel. This ministry, those requests are not for you to be granted. And in some cases, you're going to have to face when somebody says, it's not for you. You don't have the education, you don't have the background, people don't think you have the intelligence. If somebody were to trust you, with this case, you wouldn't know. You're not as talented as everybody else. And either you're going to, at that point, become so disgusted that you walk away just because you're insulted, or you're going to say, you know what, I'm still not going to back down. You're either going to come back and make the case that, look, what they do for you is not something that I could do for you. I'm going to handle it this way. I'm going to approach this case this way. I'm going to approach this business deal this way. This is what's going to put us over the top. This is what's going to make the difference. It's me. And the faith in myself and the faith that in ministry, the faith that I have in God is going to overcome whatever deficiencies somebody else might notice. And so many people, especially in ministry, they want to conform to what they look at and say, okay, that was successful. They've got 400 people. And if I just do what they do, I'll have the same 400 people. Yeah, you might have the same results, but you're in that case, you become a counterfeit. You become a phony. You've done something to be like somebody else just because you want to replicate that success or what you believe is success. But it would be better off for you to have 50 and be what God called you to be, or be what you are, rather than being a counterfeit or a phony. Now, the thing about it is you by conforming to what they are, you might get to 400, but if you were to remain unique, you might end up with 1,500. You might end up with 2,000. Because what you term as their limit of success is not your limit of success. You have to determine that, you know what, I'm going to remain unique. I'm going to remain aggressive in my approach. I'm going to remain true to my goals and my standards and what I want in life. And I'm not going to allow somebody to, steer me into what they deem I need to be. And so when we see this, the woman does not become insulted, but rather she says in verse 9 and 28, in verse 28, Jesus said, well, let's go back to verse 2. And she said, yet the dogs which fall from their master's table. She is so resourceful and she's quick on her feet. Nothing catches her by surprise. And she's so determined. A lot of things in life are about determination. They really aren't about talent. It's not about, having a smooth tongue. It's not about, the kind of coat you wear. It's not about that. It's about how determined are you to see something through? How much are you willing to devote to, whatever your goal is? You can have a lawyer in the firm, smartest thing since sliced bread. Just a great person, great orator. He got it all. She got it all. Got degrees from Harvard Law, Yale Law. But when you put that person in the courtroom, they don't know how to argue a case. They don't know how to put it together the way you would put it together. They don't know how to assemble witnesses. They don't know how to do those things, but you do. It's all about how you really are, if you're really one that wants to be the best and you're willing to put the time in and devote the effort to being the best, you're going to be the best. You are, because you're determined. That person may have all the talent, but they're not as determined as you are. And if you're determined to be something, if you're determined to accomplish that goal, things have a way of happening. We call it faith in the church. In the world, you call it determination, or you call it tenacity, or you call it the will to win. I'm sure there are people that are more talented than Michael Jordan, but they didn't work as hard. Had just as much talent, had more size, had more strength, but didn't have the willingness or the ambition to work for what they wanted. So they never became what he was. People say he maximized his abilities. Maximize your abilities. Learn that. In conclusion, in verse 28, it says, Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. Now, what you have to understand is that he says great faith, extraordinary faith, above basic or above even advanced, is graduate level faith. My professor told me when I was taking up a doctorate program, he said, Curly, there's master's level writing and then there's doctorate level writing. And what he meant by that is doctorate level has to be on a whole nother level. It has to be a greater sense of explaining, a greater sense of writing, a greater sense of research. It takes more effort. It takes more determination to graduate with a doctorate than it does with a master's or even bachelor's. Well, those things take a lot of effort, but you step up a level when you go into doctorate programs or when you take a promotion. A lot more is expected of you. You can't be a head of a firm or the head of a business and still operate like you were when you were in mid-management. You have to be so much more detailed. You have to understand how to inspire people, how to discipline people, how to get them to adopt your standards in order for y'all to succeed as a whole. That is just the way it is. You cannot succeed in anything without understanding the level that you're on, that you accomplish something, but work still has to be done. In this text, he says, great is thy faith. Be it under you. Now it's in your control. That's how you want it. That's what you wanted. You got it. Faith is about empowering yourself. Just as much as you asking Christ or you asking that business leader to empower you by investing in your idea, it's going to be about you in the end. What did you want? What were your goals? What were your standards? What were your expectations? You have low expectations and you receive below market value for something and that's what you expected, that's what you get. That's what Jesus is saying. Hey, if you wouldn't have expected anything or you would have just gave up, this young lady wouldn't have been healed. But her tenacity or willingness to rise above being told no is what allowed her to gain empowerment. He says, "Is this according to what you want?" Yeah, sometimes we need to be told that, hey, I'm gonna bless you with this, or I'm gonna give you this. But you have to understand that your faith gives you a level of responsibility and puts you in a certain amount of control, because it really is about your expectations in the end. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, we're one church in Houston, Texas. If you are looking for a church home and you're in the Houston area, please reach out to me. You can reach out. I'll have my videos on YouTube. We're looking for people that are wanting to go further in their faith, want to establish themselves not only in the church but also in the community, that are wanting to become business leaders, that's wanting to become more, that want to become more advanced. We want to be a part of investing in your talents and giving the word to you. So again, my name is Pastor. I'm Pastor Curly Ellis, senior pastor of One Church in Houston, Texas. Please leave a message. Please subscribe to our channel. We're going to start going live, and then, like I said, hopefully we'll get a chance to meet in person. So take this leadership challenge, see where you are. Again, I'm college educated, university trained. If you want to ask about my credentials, you may. And like I said, this was a great lesson for me, and I hope for you. God bless. Bye-bye.